anybody's watching this. And partly it's out of like just my own self wanting to punish myself for no reason, but also just because like it's amazing when you have something personal to say and it can transcend that and other people can see it. And I don't want to sound like I feel like I'm almost sounding like I'm like egotistical about it. It's just like kind of a shock to me is really what it is. And I'm so grateful you're here. I really thank you so much. We're gonna do things a little differently tonight. Basically, like I've been doing these like with a person who interviews me, but I prefer it when it's with the audience and people have questions because you just saw it and I just want to hear from people. It's been like the most wonderful experience getting to like talk to people, especially like not just people of my background, but people of other backgrounds, people who have, feeling like they, want to explore their own family history, which is why whenever I hear that, it always makes me feel so heartwarmed, because that's, because other things have made me feel that way, which is what made me explore this. So if there are any questions or anything, and don't feel pressure obviously, but there is some pressure in the sense that if there's no questions, obviously this thing will be a huge bust. So we're not giving out any gifts. Oh, look at this. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And if you can't hear him, don't worry. Don't scream at him. He's a nice person. I'll just say the question if you can't hear him.
Jesse, that was an amazing film. Really beautiful performances and so incredible.
Love
I just
the
wanted to
film.
ask, obviously you've moved truly into this amazing filmmaker and writer now. I was just going to ask you, as an actor who's writing and starting to move into directing, like what's the biggest lesson you've learned and what was the lesson you learned as a director from this film?
Oh, thank you so much. What a nice question. You're asking, like, what is the biggest lesson from, like, acting to directing? And you know what it is, really? It's kind of weird. I've always been on movie sets as an actor thinking that the director was mad at me, just because because I never feel, like, satisfied with my performance. So I'm always just thinking, like, the director knows 2 days ago I screwed up that take, and that's why he's walking around. And I would just, it was not something I didn't go to the director and ask. I was too embarrassed to ask. And then like being on the other side of it, I was like, oh my God, I have nothing but complete gratitude for these actors, these people that are here like exposing themselves, that are like not worried about their own vanity, even though they're going to be projected on this, ridiculous sized screen, and they've memorized the dialogue, and I wrote the dialogue, but they think it's okay enough to memorize. And I remember just like on my first movie, Julianne Moore was in it. I was just like sitting behind the monitor going like, this is like the greatest gift I've ever been given, having this amazing genius do these scenes. And then with this, I was watching Kieran, and it was like the same thing. I was like, I can't believe this guy's doing this thing. And it told me this thing, which is like, the director and the producer, they're not really worried about the actors as much as the actors probably think they are. Like Jennifer Grey in this, who's so wonderful. She plays Marcia, the woman Kieran kind of bonds with. And like, she was always worried that she wasn't doing a good job. And I just remember telling her every day, I was like, I'm so glad you're here. Like, you're doing a great job. But like, even if you weren't doing a great job, I'd still be really grateful you're here. And so, but she was doing great. But she was panicked all the time. And to me, that was like the biggest lesson. It's like, you know what? We're not the problem here. Yeah. So thanks for asking. Thank you for saying all that. Yes, right here.
Hi, I'm a huge.
I'll repeat for the back.
I'm a huge fan. You mentioned that this is like a really personal movie to you, and that's clear. But Kieran seems like he has brings so much soul to this, like with you, and you guys have such a great like chemistry together. How did you like pitch this to Kieran, and like how was that collaboration process? Because it really feels like it's as personal to him as it is to you as well.
Thank you. Yeah, he was asking about Kieran, what the collaboration was like, and how did I pitch it to him, and all I'll say, it was total and complete luck. Kieran is a very unusual person. He read the script once and agreed to do it, and then before we came to Poland, he read it one more time. He never wanted to talk about the character. He never wanted to talk about the script. I asked, do you want to make any changes? Didn't want to make any changes. And I was kind of worried at the beginning. I was like, I never had one conversation with this guy about the script. I have no idea if he knows his lines because he told me he read it again once. And I was like, and he has to, and you saw the movie, you just saw it. He drives like every scene. It's like incredibly important that he's on with his lines. And I kept telling him, I was like, but you're going to be okay memorizing your lines. Do you want me to hire somebody in New York that can help you before you come to Poland? And he's like, no, I'll probably be okay. Probably be okay. So he comes to set a day before shooting. And we had a 3-hour rehearsal plan. When he got off the plane, he was going to come right to set. All the other actors had been there for several days. Comes right to the set of the monument scene where he's bringing everybody up on the monument, and we had a 3-hour rehearsal plan. And he said, "Oh, can I see a script before we do the scene?" I was like, "Fuck me, oh God." He doesn't know his lines. And I gave him my little script, and he looked at the script for like 30 seconds, and he was like, "Okay, yeah, I'm good. You want to do it?" And I said, "Sure." And again, we had 3 hours planned, so I thought we're gonna get better and better. He did it once, and it was so fucking perfect that I said, "Let's never do this again until we're filming it." And so we filmed it like on day 2. So this was right before day 1. And everybody fell into line, like all the actors, because he's calling them up and they're acting like babies, and acting like idiots. Suddenly these serious people, she's recently divorced and actually pretending to hold a gun, And it's like, and these stodgy older Americans, like suddenly they're like soldiers. And he just turned everybody into children. And it was like watching this movie that had been sitting in my dusty head for 2 years just come immediately alive. And this was every single day. He would say, like, "What scene are we doing today?" And I would say, "Oh, fuck me, it's the scene on the train where you have 5 pages of dialogue, and we're running through a moving train, and we have 2 hours to get this long thing." And he was like, "Can I see your script?" I show him the script, he's like, "Oh, I remember this. This is so funny." "Okay, yeah, let's go." And then we're perfect. And it was like every day, and it would be so frustrating to me, but it was so great. It was so great that I couldn't ever complain. He's just this person that kind of like lives in this weird amorphous space of the character. He was like sleeping 2 hours a night on his hotel floor. He was like living like the character in the movie, but just not thinking about the role from like the intellectual place that I would have thought about it. Oh, what is this guy going through? He just doesn't process it that way, and he's a genius, and I just would pray that we work together again. Yeah, thank you so much. Maybe I'll go upstairs for a minute. Hi. Yeah, you're still holding your mic, but you're not confident enough to just stay up.
This is actually my second time seeing the movie. My friends who couldn't come tonight wanted me to say you rock for wearing an Indiana University hat in the movie.
You do? Go Hoosiers?
Well, they're from Indiana.
Okay, got it. Pass it on there.
But, you had such a really unique directing style for this movie, especially when you had like certain shots of apartment buildings and everything. And I wanted to ask, if you had any inspirations when you were discovering your own style for this movie?
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, asking about like inspirations, discovering my style. A lot of it was like practical to this movie, which is to say like, it's kind of an American movie and kind of a European movie. It's a road trip movie, so what road trip to me meant is we have to just have, again, we were on a small budget, but like moving shots through car windows, shots through, the kind of traditional, like a Google hunting thing of the, shot of the guy reflected in the mirror of the moving train or car, stuff like that was kind of nuts and bolts of the genre. Seeing road signs as they pass, seeing the Chopin Airport, the camera drifts up and sees through their perspective Chopin Airport. Seeing the lovely shot of like that red car against the green field as the car, these are like nuts and bolts of the genre. And then in terms of like, when Kieran's driving a scene, it was like we were kind of handheld with him. The camera comes off the dolly. I'm in LA, so probably everybody knows what that means. You can't do this kind of Q&A in Peoria. But basically, Kieran's driving the scene. He's a manic character, so the camera comes off the dolly. We just try to follow him, and partly that's just practical. It's like this guy, Kieran, the actor, not just the character, is like a live wire and unpredictable. So it's just like, how can we just follow this actor who's going to do something that's unusual? And then the rest of it, I just wanted to make look like a kind of more traditional, mature movie. And by mature, I mean beautiful shots that are where the actors can be choreographed, moving in and out, rather than, for example, the way they would shoot a comedy, which is just like reaction shots of funny, and like not lit well, like just kind of like the way they shoot these improv comedies, which is, like I didn't want it to look at all like that, because the movie already had like this juvenilia to it. These characters are sneaking onto roofs to smoke weed and trying to get on a train for free, and so like I knew that the characters had a juvenile quality to their relationship because they're reliving their past. So I wanted to make sure the movie didn't seem juvenile. I wanted to make sure the movie seemed like, hey, there are these big themes happening behind these 2 guys smoking pot. You know what I mean? So, and that's why I used the classical music instead of like Jason Mraz, because I just wanted to show that there's like an invisible hand of an adult making this thing, even though the characters are acting like teenagers. Thank you so much. Oh, hi, right here, and I can give you the mic because.
Oh, even more fun.
Yeah, hi.
It's a beautiful film.
Thank you.
Beautifully written. And, but there were some moments that kind of felt ad-libbed, and I was just wondering if you could speak to that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like anything I was, she asked me about ad-libbing, and I mean, I don't like that. No, I like the question, but I mean, as a writer, it's like,
Yeah,
why would
right.
you say anything else, you know? Well, I don't, when you edit the Bible, and so like, I don't like it, but there is a great line in this movie that I didn't write, which is, when James, the tour guide, is saying goodbye to Kieran, and they're doing a scripted scene where James is like, "You taught me so much," and Kieran has no recollection of it because he's like, you know, an animal that lives from one moment to the next. He's like, "What did I say?" And the guy's like, "You told me to introduce to Polish people and everything," and Kieran's like, "Oh, that'd be a great idea." And then at the end of the scene, James, the Will Sharp who played James, turns to me and he goes, "Thanks, David," and walks in. And it's so funny. And when he said it on set, I hated it because I was like, "Ugh, it's too comic, it's too silly, you know, it's like, it seems like a comedy." And then when I got to the editor, it was just like, oh, we needed that. As an audience, we need it. We were just at the camp, we've been through such heavy scenes. We need to kind of basically like reset the audience into feeling like the rest of it can be a little lighter. So I kept that in. He's a genius. This guy, Will Sharp, by the way, he was in White Lotus, and he's like this gorgeous, you know, like model type guy or whatever, but he's like a brilliant comedy writer and director. He's British and makes a lot of stuff over there, and I recommend his oeuvre to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, I'm so conflicted, but it's also going so well. Okay, sorry, did you go on that back? Yeah, you and your hand. Yes, you.